The saga of the lift out section continues, and we've done a couple of things. First of all, this is the lift out section. In the first one we did, we had copper bronze underneath. We removed the underlay. We also removed the sleepers. We nailed it in at the sides and welded little bits of track to the side of the track to match with the copper clad. On this one we did it slightly differently. We left the sleepers in. I must admit it was an error, but we left the sleepers in and put the copper clad in, and then we cut the sleepers because I hadn't cut the copper clad. On the next one we had cut the copper clad before we inserted it. We left the sleepers where it was going to be, and now we're going back to the last one. This one hasn't been done yet, and what I'm going to try and do for this one, I'm going to try and put the copper clad in the normal place, this side and this side, but I'm not going to have it over the edge like that one. I'm going to try and finish it at the side of the sleeper, and I'm going to put the nails inside the track to hold the copper clad in place. Again, it's still going to be super glued in place as well. Now, the other interesting thing that happened because of this having to be done was a track change. Originally we had track in here as a sort of a goods siding onto the platform. Now this goods siding ended up being roughly here. Now, so what I've decided to do is to change it because of the little platform here. We'll bring a small train in, and that will be a little sort of almost like a push-pull, for want of a different description, and a little chuck-about siding to keep something in for effect. Now, when we come round to this section, this is where we have to do the change, because if out of my station platform, that one there, I bring this little jinty maybe, and one carriage, they then have to come up on new points to cross over to get onto this track here. And now the hand of God, it's so difficult, isn't it? That will now go around. This is the little local service, and the little local service goes round into the station, and there it stays, and one or two passengers get out, maybe one gets back in. So to achieve this nice little run round for a bit of character, we know we've had to put this track in a different place. Not too bad, nice and easy. When we come round here, we have to put these points in. So new curved points have got to go in, which means that we have to change this, and I'm very pleased we have to change this. This is one of the first efforts of the copper clad, and you must realise it is, you know, I'm going to use the word rubbish because it is. Now luckily, because I'm going to change this track here and I'm going to change that, I'm going to take the same opportunity to redo that and redo that, and then hopefully everything will be nice and smooth and things back to normal. First thing to do is to roughly put your copper clad board where you're going to go. We're going to remove the underlay. So mine's a soft rubber underlay, so I'm just marking it that side and that side. And then we'll get down to the brutal piece of actually ripping it out. So the copper clad has now been cut to shape, cut down the centre so that the conductivity no longer goes from one side to the other, and the two holes are in the middle and it fits underneath nicely. And this scrap piece of Kellogg's cornflakes box with a bit of paper glued on it that I used to do something I modelled a couple of weeks ago, fits underneath very well as a nice snug fit. And so what I will do, I will now glue that in position and I'll tack it down in the two holes, and then I have to remove these three sleeper ends, this side of the chair and the same the other side, so that I can solder to the copper clad. If you can see this okay, what I've actually done on this particular one, I have a small piece of rail that I've spare rail I've cut off, and I've removed the chair, so I've actually come back to there. Now I'm going to solder that bit of rail to the actual rail, and then I will solder the rail to the copper clad strip. Theoretically, don't hold your breath, I am the world's worst solderer. Let's see how we get on. This is the one I've just finished compared to the one we did up here. Now this one here I tried to solder inside the rail as well, and caused a little bit of a problem as the engine was coming round, because I had a little bit of solder on the inside of the rail which just started to throw it. I don't like the sleeper drawn in amateurishly by me. I don't know what I'm going to do there. I'll possibly gravel the whole lot so you can't see anything, but we'll wait and see. So all I've got to do now is the other half of this. Well, the soldering's been completed. The circuits have all been tested on the rapid test meter, and this is how I've ended up. It's not the neatest, it's electrically correct, and with camouflage paint and anything else I can throw at it, it will do the job for me. I'm not a model maker, I just put things together to try and make a scene that your imagination creates 75% of. I'll just give you the starting. Almost the final thing, I cut the rail with a hacksaw, little junior hacksaw rather than the Dremel. The Dremel seemed to have cut a big chunk out of the rail. Now I know the rail that you can see in the far distance there, the furthest away, looks a big chunk, whereas this one close to me doesn't look a big chunk, although I've slipped and taken a nick out of it. I can't explain that because I don't know, but I'm going to put some power on it now and put an engine over it. Let's see how we get on. So here is the proof in the pudding. Let's get this started. And there's the join coming up now. Little hand device, temporary wiring. And we're going to stop when we get onto the bit of dead track with no electricity on it. Just there. It's only fair that we do a reverse. Smashing. Lovely. And it all pulls out. I'll show you a second. And here's the test. I've disconnected my bus wire connection. Out it comes. Yes, we'll concentrate on that later. Have to put some wires in. Voila.